So what we do, or what I've always done, and then I've got these screeners that I've programmed that are part of the trading trainer, offering. So when you sign up for one of our programs, you access our screeners. The they're initially based on a fundamental screen because I don't want any underlying symbols on my watch list that are schleps. So I make sure, there's these measurements in fundamentals that are relative. So they rate stocks based on how well they're earning or their relative price or anything like that compared to all the other stocks out there. So, for instance, one thing I look for on any symbol I'm going to have on my watch list is that its earnings per share rating is 80 or above. So it's better than 80% of the other stocks out there. And I make sure that the relative strength index is 90 or above. So I want it to be better than 90% of the stocks out there. And then I also look at the industry group strength. That's another measurement, a fundamentals based measurement. And I make sure that it's either an A minus, an A, or an A plus. So I'm looking for the strongest, best of the best underlying symbol candidates. And then the next criteria I use is it optionable? Because if it's not optionable and I can't use all my option strategies on it, I'm not interested. So it's got to be optionable. And then even going deeper than that, the option chain has to have liquidity. In other words, it could be optionable, but if there's not traders in there, if there's not investors buying and selling, then you're going to go in there and try to buy some of this stuff and nobody's going to be there to sell it to you. Or you might get a hold of some of these options and you won't be able to sell it when you want to because there's nobody to buy it from you. So I make sure that it's optionable, but even more that it's got liquidity, that there's people in there buying and selling. And then it comes down to pattern matching, right? Because option strategies, you can tune option strategies. I was telling my program participants last night about, by selecting the different strategies and selecting strike prices and expiration dates, these options are not all the same. They actually behave totally different, like totally different. And so you want to know what option strategy you're focused on and then look for those patterns in those strong symbols and then filter it that way. So like for instance, if you're looking for premium selling, you'd look for any of those patterns that are sideways choppy channeling with perhaps some implied volatility that's on the higher side. But you want to match your strategies the way you're going to trade whatever investment vehicle you're trading to that watch list so that you filter it further. And I guess the only other criteria you might be looking at is the price, right? What can you afford? What risk tolerance? What does your risk appetite allow you to afford when it comes to underlying symbols? And that's how I have always crafted my watch lists. First, start with fundamentals, then go ahead and make sure it's got options and it's optionable and there's people trading the options, and then pattern matching.